What? Yes, it's on. I left it on. Since you're about to come up anyway. What is happening? All right, that's good.
It's funny, I thought, oh, Shelly figured out a way to put a cool graphic in the corner, but it's an archway.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I can have everyone's attention, I think everyone's been through the line once, but there's a lot of food back there, so if you feel like you want to get up and get some more, feel free after I'm done talking. Just kidding. So if you've ever been to one of these, what we'll do is I'll do a little recap, and then we will have the coaches come up and they will introduce their team, and then they will give out awards, and so they'll have so much time to do that. And so it's not going to be all about me tonight, just for the first maybe 10 or 15 minutes. It will be about the teams, it'll be about the players, and it'll also be about the coaches. So let me reminisce here of some recent events. Nationals is always a great way to end the basketball season. And for those of you that maybe your season ended at regionals, you understand that's also a great ending. It's a long season. We start usually in the summer, off season we call it, but usually not for varsity. Then we get started in October with practices, November, and we go all the way here into mid-March. And so I understand it's like a long, cold winter sometimes, but to end up there in Springfield is always just a great, great time. It's a great time for fellowship, to come together, enjoy basketball, and also enjoy one another. And so this year we took 4 teams to Springfield. We had a great time watching all their games. The way it worked this year is there was pool play, so the first 2 days every team was going to play 3 games. So the first day you're going to play 2 and then 1 on Tuesday. So that made for some schedule conflicts. We couldn't make it to every Wildcat team because of that excessive schedule. But it also made for a lot of exciting games to open up the week, and you knew you were going to be busy on Monday and Tuesday. And so the junior high, I think, went 3-3, ended up maybe possibly around 11th in the nation. third in the bronze ball round. So that's always something so in that pool play, and I'll explain this for a few other teams, what happens is you play 3 other teams, so there's 4 teams, and then the top 2 teams will move into what I'll call the gold ball, sometimes winning bracket, or you move into the other bracket. Now, that's a good thing or a bad thing, depending on where you want to be and what's going to happen and what kind of competitive team that you think you have. And so as I explain some of these teams, you'll see the bronze ball and that bracket is also a competitive bracket and also enjoyable. So there was great energy with junior high. We had a lot of fan base out for some of their games, and so that made for some festive times. Now the 12U boys, they went 4-2, and so they made it all the way to the Final Four. That Final Four consisted of 3 Indiana teams and then 1 Dallas team. The 12U boys, Wildcats, made it to that Final Four game. We missed a free throw or 14 maybe that game.
Oh, 14.
But it was tight other than that. So we were right there. We could have won that. And as you may know, Northwest Warriors went on to win the national title. But, we split with them this year. Then we played in our 3rd place game at 12U, and we played the Evansville Racers. We split with them this year. And so any of those 3 Indiana teams could have definitely won it all. And so it was a tight tournament on the 12U boys side. And so just because there are some people that are privy to Northwest Warriors, congratulations to them. Moving on. The girls varsity, this was interesting. So their first game, they lose to Chap. The second game, they lose to Noah Jaguars. And then the third game, you're going into that third game thinking we have no shot of moving on as the top, the second one in the pool. Well, we get all this information coming in the 4th quarter of our third game that if we win by 11, then we move on as the number 2 seed. We won by 10. And it was very strange because the other team knew that as well, so they're holding the ball with a 9-point deficit, and then of course they're cheering after they lost by 10 because they moved on in the bracket. But here's what's interesting. The girls' next game was a rematch with Noah. We beat them, right? So we won 1 out of the 3, and then we go back for a rematch and win that one. And then we go for a late nighter, in a double overtime team with Rush, which is a team right there in Springfield. And so we win that, and then we move to the championship bronze game, and we beat Dash Spartans. So it was a fantastic tournament in the bronze bracket there for the girls. So definitely exciting. Now the boys varsity, they got to the Final Four. They played MHEA. We lost on a heartbreaker by simply 2 points. MHEA went on to win the whole thing by 20 plus in the next game. So those 2 teams, us and MHEA, either of those 2 teams could have came home with the title. Now next season, possibly we take more teams. Right, so this is kind of the first year we said we'd like to invite every team to go out to nationals. It is something difficult to commit to, but once you do and once you go out for a year, maybe 2, you realize it is an enjoyable time. So a lot of the veterans that have been out there for years, there's a lot of times when it comes around, you're like, here we go again. It's exciting. It's like the pre-March Madness before the, junior March Madness, which is NCAA. But it's just a fantastic trip. And so next season, maybe we can take more. Also, we do have our queen beds at the Home to Suites next year. So thank you to Shelly Dove for doing that. And so, it was tough for our 6 to fit in that king bed this year. Yeah, it was.
He had to pull out.
You lay around the perimeter and 2 people across it.
And we have the conference room, so team meetings are a lot easier.
The conference room got soaked up by another team, but not next year.
Not next year.
And so, through, everybody's usually on some sort of team text. And so I'm on a 12U boys team text, and then, of course, I'm on a girls varsity team text. And so kind of at the end and on the way home, people were mentioning some of their, highlights and things that stuck in their memory. And so I text this. I said, memorable scenes for me at this Nationals trip, as it's the end of the week. Being right behind Laura Tolbert and cringing as she drove into the ditch. But I'm not going to bring that up, but that was just... Here was another funny one. Jahari's cowboy hat on the very top tuft of his hair only. That was an awesome picture. Awesome scene.
It was more awesome when you got out and
the green
everybody was
attire at the
okay.
boys' varsity game on St. Patrick's Day. That was fun. Yes, I did have on a green mustache. Everyone praying for my mom as she passed out in the stands at Evangel, and then her saying for the next 2 hours, "Oh, I'm fine," and acting like she doesn't like attention. She didn't arrive yet, did she? She can pick it up on the stream. And finally, all of our spirited fans and our many wins. And so, as we close out this season and you think back and then maybe look forward to next season, I really would just like to say that I'm so proud of all of the teams, all of the players throughout the season, and it's really you parents and coaches that make it all happen, right? Us as parents, we cultivate that environment to expose our kids to sports and certain academic avenues within homeschooling. And as Shelley probably knows by sitting on a panel, it's a lot to balance. But as you give your kids this opportunity to be in this 6-month cult that we call it, it is something that I think they grow from. They learn a lot of team activity, team attitude, but they also make friends that they possibly will have for life. And so, give me a few more minutes here. I want to recognize the board. And so, if the board members can stand.
I'm standing already.
Each board member, please stand. And so, we have Brad and Shelley Dove. I think everybody knows a lot of these people, but I want you to know who's on the board and who makes the administrative decisions, because things are going well. Congratulate them. And if your mind, you don't have a great experience, you also know who to talk to, right? Because as a board, we want to get better every year. There is never a perfect season. We try to provide competitive Christian homeschool basketball, but we also try to provide a value for your dollar and for your time, right? Because it's not cheap to play in this club, and it's a lot of time commitment. So we want to make sure that we're providing what you want through this club. And so we have Rachel and Danny Highshoe, as I said, Brad and Shelley Dove, also Ethan and Jenny Walker and Megan Day, and then myself and my wife, Jana. And so kind of how the roles work is, you may know this, but Jenny Walker she's really in charge of this entire club. Let's just be honest. She does everything on this board. She looks into every nook and cranny. I can help here, I can help here, I can help here. And then by her helping, what she does is sometimes she takes it over, because that person's like, yeah, you can have that and that and that. And so she is communications, and like I said, she has just learned everything that this board does. And then with Shelley also being on communications with her, those two are putting out all of what you're getting through email, the setup for this tonight, and they communicate very well. Here's how it's going to go
Sometimes
down.
it's a desperate
they
text.
are
Can you send this email?
really, really good with that. And then, of course, everybody knows Shelley with the streaming. Years ago, we did streaming, but what we did is we paid through SRN, and we paid a lot, right, Andy? We paid a lot, but you had their two dedicated announcers, and you paid so much per game. Shelley has turned that into a do-it-yourself. She has trained so many people in this room how to do it. And when you go to nationals and people can't make it to games because they're back home, everybody turns in. They're like, I'm so grateful to have that stream. Now, volunteers. This club runs on volunteers. It's the only way this club is going to get done. People doing setup, people doing teardown, people doing book, people doing game clock. Right? It kind of goes on and on. People doing streaming. And so this is an all-volunteer club. No one gets paid in this club. So much money comes in through this club, and it all goes out for people outside of this club. Right? Gym rental, tournament fees, all the things that we pay out to provide what you guys experience all year. And so I appreciate everyone volunteering let's not leave other areas out, like Marie Gurley and concession sales. And everybody has their own little special niche that they like to do, and they do it so well. And then finally, sponsors. Thank you to everyone who gets sponsors for this club. I say this every year. If everybody sponsored away all of their fees, then we'd have double the amount that comes in through registration, because through sponsors, half of that goes to the club, half of that goes toward your registration. And so that's a fantastic way to make the money for the club and also get someone else to pay for your child or your athlete's registration. Now, one other note before I hand this off to all of the coaches. I've been on this board for about 10 years, maybe 6, 7 years as the board president. It's good to have longevity, I think, on a board, but I think you also need fresh young people and good new ideas. That always needs to be injected into a club. And so it's been fantastic working with all the people that are now, maybe a couple of years, like Jenny Walker and most of the others just joining, maybe possibly even this past season. And they've got a lot of great ideas. And with Jana and myself being on that board for this one last year, we could kind of say, yeah, that might work, that might work. We tried that, that didn't work, but here's why it didn't work, right? So even this event, we've gone from, you do a big banquet, you do food, then you do the awards, and you play basketball, and then the pendulum swings. Well, there's too much. Let's not do food. Let's not do this. Let's not do that. And they wanted to do food again. And I'm like, I have no problem with that. It just has to be coordinated. And so, like I say, these people that are just starting out on this board, give them your support, give them your help, give them your assistance, and they also have a strong vision for where this club is going. And so, like I said, this is not about me. So you said I have to stop at 6:20. That's 6:19. I got a few jokes I can throw in here. Just kidding. But again, thank you so much for being a part of this club. And thank you for supporting us as a board as we try to provide all of this. And so I will pass this off. And what I want to do, so I don't have to just keep getting back up here, is we'll start off with the 10U boys team. And then we'll go into the girls team, right? So we'll go 10U boys, 12U girls, right? Just back and forth to the next team from the youngest to the oldest. And we'll switch genders. And yes, genders really do exist, but there's only 2. So with the first one. So with that, I'll introduce Ryan Cease, 10U boys coach, and Nate Eppel. And so I've got all the assistants up here too, so if you kind of introduce your assistants as well.
Hey boys, go sit down. Sit down. Go sit down.
Yeah, I want him on stage for people. Oh, you want I don't know why you
First, I just want to thank, he said it well, but being in a different organization and then coming to this organization, I'm amazed. When we would ask for volunteers at our other organization, it was almost like pulling teeth, inviting them to the dentist. And so I'm amazed at everybody that just steps up, that volunteers to do the book, helps with concessions, admissions, just everything that's involved. I'm impressed. But one person that I want to thank, and I didn't thank at our little banquet, Jennifer Walker. She was so key to making 10U. She's back there. But she was so key to 10U. And then I just assumed she was just doing 10U because she did such a good job. It sounds like she was running everything, so amazing. On a personal note, I want to thank Brad Dove. Since I got 10 minutes, I'm going to use that for doing the senior book and letting me just enjoy Ty's senior year. So I really appreciate that, Brad. We're there. Yep, thank you. And I also want to thank Coach Nate Eppel, who's not here. He sponsors, he's the owner of Chicago's Pizza, one of the Chicago's Pizzas. He sponsored our pizza party at the end of the year. The boys love that. And he also sponsors the Wildcats, but he's not here tonight because of Chicago's Pizza. So unfortunately he can't be here. But Coach Eli Gorley, please come up. Can you help me out? Eli was another year and just kind of helped out throughout the entire year, was at practices. I also want to thank some of the 14U boys and varsity boys that came to practice and helped out with just different drills and showing the Wildcat way to these younger guys. So I appreciate that. There's a couple of unique things about this program besides everybody just stepping up. 4 years ago, Ty and I completed our first regional homeschool tournament with CHA and decided to stay for the 18 regional championship to watch Crew versus the Indy Wildcats. The atmosphere of that game was phenomenal, and I remember asking a girl in the front row, what was the score? Because we couldn't even see the score. And I will never forget this. She said, "We are winning by 5." And I'm like, that's cool. The support that you guys enjoy at the Wildcats is just amazing. And this year I want to give a shout out to the 12U and 14U girls. I call them the cheer squad. Ty said I couldn't call them the bomb squad, but they were always dropping bombs. And I just love it. Especially in the championship game, that regional game, every Isaiah bomb that he dropped, I heard boom! You guys did it so well. I could just see Ty was just doing fine. He was healing every bomb that was dropped. And so I just love you guys' support and emotions. Second, that's so unique to this program that I just want to applaud coming from the outside to see it. You have Heather Overton, Cody Hirons, Bryce Moll, Nate Magnuson, Josh Jones, and Paul Suttle with no kids, but giving their heart for this program. So enough of my soapbox. I want to talk about this 10U squad. At the beginning of the season, I knew we'd need some players to step up. From watching Ezra Walker last year do it all, and what I mean all, he rebounded, he was last line of defense, he blocked shots, he brought the ball up, he shot, he passed, he was the all-around spark plug. And then we also lost Luke Day, who was just the heart of the team, fired everybody up. So I knew it was going to be a task. But we were young, we only had one 10-year-old, and several players were new to basketball, but they all responded to my expectations. We also have a ton of players that have older brothers playing basketball, so they understood the Wildcat way. We played well in the Crossroads tournament, beating the scrappy Evansville team, but we ran out of gas against Northside. My wife blames me because I took them to Culver's and had ice cream before the game. That's a good rookie coaching. We had a bunch of close games and we won a bunch of them this year, and I credit that to the heart of the team and just them continuing to just play all the way through. We finished 4th at regionals, but played the 2 best teams close, and only a few shots and some bad coaching prevented us from first place. So for the awards, I want to start out with Most Improved. This was a challenging award to give out because we had a ton of players that made some major improvements, but one stood out. Isaac Gorley, please come up. Go ahead and stand on the podium up there so everybody can see Isaac. Isaac going up there. So, at the beginning of the season, his parents came to me and said, "How's Isaac doing?" So I had to tell him the story. I said, I asked him to hustle. He just smiled and walked over to me. I said, "That smile might work for your mom, but not for me. I will need hustle." And from there on, he went from coming off the bench to making clutch free throws at the end of the Evansville game at Crossroads to a player I hated to take out of games because I knew he'd give me hustle and clutch shots and all heart. He took over the middle spot of the zone press as well, and I'm predicting if he keeps up his work ethic and drive, there's many great goalies coming through this program, but he could be the best of the bunch. Stay up there. Hey, stay up there, Isaac. Besides Alan, of course. The next award I want to bring up is the Defensive Player of the Year. Benjamin Seeks, come on up. This was a little easier award to give out because every morning when I'd wake up, Benjamin was watching the games and counting the number of steals he had, or replaying the shots he made, or the buzzer beater against Northwest was playing on a loop. He set the tempo for our D in front of our press and was an Energizer bunny. He led the team in steals again this year. He always asked to play D on the best offensive player of the other team, and especially the Columbus kid who kept saying he was going to take him. He almost didn't get the award due to the fact that the number of times he told me this year that he liked the coach last year so much better. And he did. The next award is MVP. Jacob Owen, come on up. Jacob was our only 10-year-old, and he definitely took over the leadership role. Jacob is one of the most coachable players I've ever coached. I only need to tell him to do something once, and he was on it. In our final games, he gave us it all at regionals. And without them throwing a backboard three, I mean, it was a prayer, Jacob would have led us to victory. I'm so sad to see Jacob go up to the 12U, but I'm excited to see what he does there. I know there have been a lot of great Owens to come through this program, and I'm excited to see Luke and Ben put their mark on the program. But if Jacob works during the summers, Jacob will be the best Owen to put on a Wildcat jersey.
Oh, the challenge has been made.
No pressure, Jacob.
He's
Our
like, yeah,
last
thanks,
award
coach.
goes to the player that exemplifies Christ. And again, this was a challenging award because we just got a lot of kids with heart and just character. But I'm going to have to give this one to Isaiah Walker. Come on up. Isaiah always comes with a smile on his face and just lights up the room. He's always joking with players, sometimes not at the best times at practice, but he was definitely having fun. He may have heard his name a lot in practice, but he always responded positively and quickly. And at the beginning of the year, he was playing with a foot injury, but you wouldn't have known it. He just toughed it out. He had grown, he was thrown to the floor many times, but he always got back up and gave his best. And as far as humility, every time out, I would tell the team what I wanted them to do. And then when we were breaking the huddle, he would humbly come up to me and say, "Now what is the plan?" Isaiah always continued to be the light in the room. Now we had another award that we gave out at our awards banquet, and it was the Ian Gorley Glue Award. And this is for the players that just gave heart and just left it all on the field, on the floor, and just did the little thing, just scrapped. You knew they were going to bring their A game, and just when I put them in, I knew they would just give it their all. And I want to have Levi Day come up. He missed the award. He had different plans for the awards banquet. But Levi is one of those heart players that you just love to see the energy and everything he brought to the court. And then Austin Moll, come on up. He also won. So I only went over my time just a couple minutes, but I just want to share you guys some basketball wisdom. Basketball is played in the winter, but basketball players are made in the summer. I hope you guys and everybody here sets up a program, comes to open gym, goes to summer camps, and finds kids to play with. I always tell, Ty gets sick of me telling them this, and Benjamin hears it too, but you can go out and shoot for 3 hours and get a little bit better, or you can go out for an hour a day and focus on things and get a ton better. Then spend 30 minutes inside working on dribbling and quickness drills, and come back this winter a way better player. So that's my expectations for all you guys. I want to thank again the parents that allowed me to trust me in coaching their kids, the Wildcat board for doing the same. It was truly a delight, and I'm hoping to get the contract signed for next year soon. I'm waiting for that. I guess my agent will be in touch with you guys too. I just want to pass it on to Heather, but great job, 10U.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of myself and Coach Jason, who couldn't be here tonight, I would like to thank everyone for coming and for your support of our girls all throughout the year. This was such a sweet season spent with these young ladies. Each one showed tremendous growth throughout the year, becoming better teammates, better athletes, and better stewards of their God-given abilities. They grew in leadership, responsibility, and maturity. Although they're all giggling behind me, so the maturity still has a little way to go. We're sad to have to say goodbye to a few of our girls as they age out of the Junior Cats program and head to the next stage of life as they join junior high. And I think right here we have Mary and Audrey who are moving up. And Ken is on the fence. But I'm humbled and grateful for the years of being able to pour into their lives and thankful to them for giving me their very best. I'm proud of their hard work, proud of them for having courage and learning to take risks, and especially proud of how they encouraged and fostered the growth of our littlest ladies that joined the team this year. So thank you, girls. Speaking of those little ladies, Phoebe and Kyra and Isla, they brought a ton of energy, spunk, and lots of giggles to our practices and so much fun to the bench during games. I was glad they had each other since sometimes I had to pull them aside as our starters practiced different plays and things. And while I was trying to keep them engaged, I didn't have to worry about it too much because I would look over and they would be like all eagerly paying attention and often able to repeat back what Coach Jason was telling them or something without me having to re-explain it. They would be like, oh yeah, I saw the cutter went this way and she went that way. So I enjoyed their enthusiasm and appreciated their attention. Even when it wasn't their time to be in the center of attention, they still gave me their best. So thank you, girls. Overall, when I think back on this season, I think I'll remember it as one of friendships amongst the girls, good sportsmanship, and playing hard no matter what the scoreboard said. So for our awards, let's see. Our Defensive Player of the Year is going to Miss Kieran Bainline, who's not here tonight. But as the season went on, we started having her play a stronger role on defense because it allowed our guards to be able to focus more on offense. And we were starting to get into some foul trouble. So we were like, Kieran, you don't foul anyone. Go out there and get on them. And she used her soccer skilled defense to stay in front of the girls and give them a hard time. So that was good. Our Most Improved Player Award is going to Miss Audrey Alvey. Audrey grew so much this year. It was from one game to the next, I promise you. And we had done a driving drill in practice. And it was like that, it just clicked. And the next game, she was finding little openings and driving to the basket. It was so fun to watch. My favorite thing about Audrey is the look on her face when she tries something and it doesn't quite work out. She gives me this like, oops, like smile, and then just tries it again the next time, and it works the next time. So, but I always enjoyed her little guilty face when it hadn't gone right. Our Christian Character Award goes to Cassie Tolbert. So to know Cassie is to love her. Joy and sass just like radiates out of everything she does. And everything is more fun with her. She is our team champion at Knockout, and she's the best teammate anyone could ask for. So I'm happy to give this to her. All right, our MVP is Miss Kenna Gorley. So Kenna became the rock of our team. All the girls played an important role, but Kenna was always the one who would be like, okay, run the play through Kenna. She knows what she's doing. So she would be able to see the court, and she was just very helpful in instructing her teammates in a way that was gentle and just very kind. When she was advising them, it was always with just a very gentle spirit, and I appreciated that very much. So thank you, Kenna. Good job. All right. And in closing, I always do try to leave them with something a little more serious than basketball. So this year, I would like to just pray over the girls. So ladies, I'm going to pray for you, okay? Lord God, we live in a time of such confusion, and an attack on truth has been profoundly aimed at the youngest and most innocent among us. The battle for the hearts and minds of our children seems to increase in intensity each day. I come before you and humbly ask you to cover these girls with a divine protection that only you can give. We pray that their eyes will remain open to your truth, their hearts rooted deep in the knowledge of your love, mercy, and justice, knowing that your ways are good and your wisdom is so far beyond ours. Let them always stay humble, putting others first, even as we live in a world that tells them to live authentically and find their truth no matter who they hurt in the process. Let them always remember that they are fearfully and wonderfully made, designed in your perfect wisdom to become the women that you've designed them to be after your own heart. Let them choose purity in body and mind, avoiding activities and images that give pleasure in the moment but would eventually leave them empty and broken. Let them know that peace comes from a life lived in obedience to your word, and let them know the Bible so soundly that the enemy can never twist its meaning and beauty into something ugly and divisive. Let them see themselves through eyes of grace, accepting their flaws as part of their unique charm, and never valuing physical beauty over the beauty of a peaceful spirit, a joyful heart, helpful hands, and feet willing to go wherever you call them. Thank you for each and every one of these precious girls, and thank you for the time we were able to spend together this season. We love you, Lord. Amen. All right, and now I hand off the mic to Trent.
Hi everyone, I'm Trey Ochan. I'm the boys 12U coach, Elementary Boys. Before I honor the players tonight, I'll bring you up one at a time, guys. Before I honor the players tonight for their accomplishments, I just want to say thanks to the club for letting me coach. Something I really enjoy. I don't take it for granted. I appreciate the board, all the administration and volunteers, as others have said, that allow me just to show up and coach and not have to worry about so many details. That is wonderful. I'm grateful to Paul, Josh, Nate. Being able to work with the varsity group as well, working with you guys has made me a better coach, and I hope to keep making progress for another 6 years. I like what Ryan said about contract in the mail. Hopefully that comes to me as well. When the season began, I wondered if this was a great idea for me to coach 12U kids. I thought I finally figured out how